You're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Monday, June 24th, 2019. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us. Topping our news, the Family Center is asking the authorities for assurance that the community will be protected from a serious sex offender released from Westgate Correctional Facility without an electronic monitoring device. Junius Keynes, who will reside in Pembroke upon his release, successfully argued in the Supreme Court on Friday that the device causes him pain and interferes with his medication. Jasmine Patterson brings us up to date.
A Supreme Court justice, the subject of mockery online this week after a convicted sex offender was granted release from prison without a monitoring device. Junius Carmen Keynes was described as Attorney General Kathy Lynn Simmons in a public notice issued as considered to present a risk of significant harm. Martha Dismont, Executive Director of the Family Center, who happened to be in the courtroom for another matter when the ruling was handed down, tells us her thoughts at the time.
The concern I had sitting there and listening was that he did have a concern about the radiation from the electronic device, as well as he said he was on medication and that it would make him extraordinarily sick.
As part of a 5-year supervision order, Keynes is required by law to wear an EMD. But now, Justice Charles Etta Simmons says he will go without one for at least another month. Ms. Dismont, though, believes the story isn't black and white.
I appreciate what the judge was attempting to do because he pleaded, quite honestly, to not have the electronic device on and said that he will be where he needs to be and therefore won't need it. But please do not put it on me because I'm afraid about getting sick. Therefore, what do we do as the public? And I think the public needs to be assured that he will be monitored. I think the way to assure that monitoring is the electronic device. So what do? Once again, I think it becomes the services that are in charge of him, whether it's court services, to monitor him without the electronic device, to find some way. Maybe he is required to show up every day at a certain hour at court services, whatever it is, but we need to be assured.
In the meantime, there is a call for trust in the relevant authorities to carry out their respective duties.
We must have calm. I think the individual does know that they're under a microscope at this point. And I believe that if government will do its job, which is court services, if they can, to keep an eye on the individual. Obviously, the police, knowing where the individual lives, monitor the area. But I don't think that we all should be completely frightened for our children.
In response to Friday's decision by the courts, the Ministry of Legal Affairs expressed its concern about the release of a sex offender without appropriate electronic monitoring, stating, quote, "The ministry's guidelines for the release of serious sex offenders have been followed and responsibilities have been properly discharged. The ministry cannot intervene with or circumvent a court decision." End quote. We asked the Family Center their thoughts on the effectiveness of a public notice of release of dangerous offenders.
We just don't believe that protecting the community is about only blasting the person's face, name, their location, etc. Because as a community, it puts fear and you just have to be careful of that. I think it's very important that we have a public register, that the police have that register, that the community knows that a sex offender is coming back out, but I think we have to find other ways.
A Ministry of Legal Affairs spokesperson concluded, "Our concern in this instance is for the safety of members of the public if the convicted sex offender chooses to reoffend." Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Jasmine. In other news, the independent Senator James Jardine has refuted claims that he has an OBA bias when it comes to voting in the Senate. It was Public Works Minister David Birch who on Friday launched a blistering attack on the senator's record, claiming he had effectively become allied with the opposition OBA. However, speaking to Tarai Trott last night, Senator Jardine dismissed the remarks about him as, quote, unfortunate and disappointing, and insisted that he is indeed politically neutral.
I think if you check my voting record in the 7.5 years I've been in the Senate, when either the OBA or the PLP have been in government, I think I've given due consideration and careful consideration to every bill that comes before the Senate. If he would care to check the record back in December 2017, when the PLP were obviously the government at the time, probably one of their landmark pieces of legislation was the Domestic Partnership Act. And indeed, I voted with the government with the PLP in support of that legislation when the three OBA opposition senators voted against that legislation. And that has to be one of their most significant pieces of legislation in the last number of years. So there have been occasions when I have voted against the government, but in most cases, I have accepted the legislation that's been presented to us.
The minister repeatedly stated that the way in which the independent senators and the opposition senators collaborated over that bill to do with staff of cabinet ministers, he suggested it was improper and accused all of you of ambushing the government. Can you respond to that?
Yes, I can. I mean, certainly there was no ambush or anything of that nature at all. In fact, we were all given the amendment just at the start of Senate, so no one had had an opportunity to read it or see it prior to Senate. And the amendments that were given, and I have them in front of me, were fairly straightforward and seemed to add more to the initial bill that was presented. So it seemed to me that they were reasonable and appropriate under the circumstances.
And of course, Tarai Trott reporting there. Minister Birch, you might recall, had accused Senator Jardine of teaming up with the OBA's three senators to ambush the government Senate team over a bill related to the appointment of staff by cabinet ministers. Well, coming up, concern over multiple road traffic collisions involving police officers. We'll have all the latest weather details and more. Stay with us.
Girl, come my way, no matter what time of day. Babes, baby. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Babes, hey, babes, you know I said
I'm a big deal. You're my friend, I'm a big deal. Yeah, we're kinda important, for real.
we no frighten for your spondil. But you have one shoes alone, I'm a bill. Enough of them lose them soul for gain the world. When I switch for the table turn, we no frighten for Benz and Beamer. I'm in a sell out my friends, them neither. Enough of them lose them soul for gain the world. When I switch for the table turn.
Box, cloud DVR storage, more local channels on every device in your home. Get more with FiberWire TV.
Welcome back. Well, finally, government is moving to regularize the status of mixed families. The announcement coming from Immigration Minister Wayne Keynes, who told the media the issue has been given high priority at cabinet meetings and the time for action has arrived. Here's Gary Moreno with more on the minister's comments.
For the pressure group calling itself supporting fair immigration reform, this may well be an indication that this vexing issue, which they have long argued should be prioritized, will now in fact be. The government is, however, urging the public's assistance in making this a reality.
If your family structure fits the description if your family structure fits the description of a mixed status family and you are able to assist us in providing information, we encourage you to attend the Cedar Bridge Academy Gymnasium on June 27th between 5:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. Following this, data collection will continue here at the Ministry of National Security, located on the third floor in Global House on Church Street. Those dates are from the 28th of June until the 12th of July, between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
So what exactly qualifies as a mixed status family?
Mixed status families can be described as a family where one or both parents has Bermudian status or holds a permanent residency certificate, whilst one or more of their children has neither a permanent residency certificate nor Bermuda status. Mixed status families can also be described as a family where a spouse has Bermudian status or holds a permanent resident certificate, while the other spouse has neither Bermudian status or a permanent residence certificate.
But given the seriousness of this issue, one might have thought government would already know the numbers involved. Why wait until now to carry out this exercise?
It is improper for me to give you that number right now. We have a clear number. We have done some research. We believe that this is an opportunity for us to delve in that a little further. We have, over the years, we've done a good bit of research on this, Gary, but we believe that this is an opportunity for us right now to get right down to the heart of it and look at this number again. This matter has to be discussed. So this matter was discussed in in Cabinet. This matter will be debated in the House. I want to give everyone as much information as possible so they have all of the information in front of them, so they're not opining or guessing. They have the facts, the figures, the numbers right in front of them, sir.
Whether this proves successful remains to be seen, as having to provide this information in such a manner could prove somewhat uncomfortable, if not intimidating. The minister assures there is no need for individuals providing the information to feel either.
Because we are able to check their IDs. We're able to make sure that these are the right person. There is nothing clandestine about it. There is nothing that will be publicly facing about it. You will not be sticking your hand up in the room and giving this information. You'll be going directly to a clerk and giving that information, and they'll put it in the computer.
Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Gary. In other news, the island's chief of police tonight assuring the public that he understands public concern over a string of road accidents involving police officers. Addressing the media today at a news conference, Police Commissioner Stephen Corbishley pledged that each incident will be addressed thoroughly. His remarks followed news of another traffic crash involving a police motorcyclist in Smiths near Penthurst Park. Luckily, no one was injured.
It's often frustrating because the information that I know is not necessarily the information that I can, at the moment, provide to the public. But I want to seek reassurance from our communities that we are taking the matter seriously and each investigation is being properly addressed. We're also recognising some of the things that perhaps we need to look at in regards to standards of our driving. And I've today announced across the service that we're going to do a review of driver training to look at the refresher activity that we put in place to make sure our officers drive to the highest standards.
And we'll have more remarks from the Commissioner in future reports. We'll turning to weather news, sunny skies and lower humidity for the next few days, the perfect combination. Let's go to AccuWeather headquarters for the latest.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
This AccuWeather forecast here on ZBM is brought to us by the folks at the BF&M Insurance Group. A couple of things to point out on the satellite loop. There is a little disturbance off to our west, that curly Q there on the satellite loop, with a couple of thunderstorms on the southeastern flank of that. That's going to drift in our direction. Meanwhile, we also have some flow from the northwest, delivering some slightly cooler air out there and some cloud cover as well. The radar estimated, at least through the means of satellite, so again, this isn't true radar, but it's showing where the showers are. There's really not much rain out there with that disturbance off to the west and very limited shower activity off to our north. So we're going to hold on to a generally dry forecast, but we'll open up the door for the possibility of an isolated shower or two when this weak disturbance rolls in late tomorrow evening. We don't expect much, though. 79 degrees coming off of the somewhat wetter weekend, about half of an inch of rain in various parts of the island. It's looking a little quieter. Winds from the west at 10 knots, water temp 82. On the inside, we have waves that have calmed down around a foot or less, and 2 to 4 footers are on the outside, and the wave height is going to be decreasing with time, so there are no marine alerts, no boating advisories or anything of that nature. Low tide coming up soon at 8:52. Then the tide will come back in late tonight. Another low tide around mid-morning Tuesday and a high high tide into the early to mid-afternoon, 3:23 p.m. I guess that's mid-afternoon for most of us. Tonight, partly cloudy, 74 degrees, generally dry weather. Again, we're going to keep our eye on this weak disturbance off to the west. You'll notice that the model Futurecast is bringing some of those showers closer, but there's a weak area of high pressure nearby that's going to probably prevent most of those showers from gaining any traction. Maybe a sprinkle tomorrow night after a partly sunny, dry day. We'll be around 82 degrees, a nice feel. Dew point and humidity levels are not out of hand, not terribly sultry at this point. Down into the Caribbean we go with some scattered showers, a couple of thunderstorms possible into Jamaica, Barbados, and also into the Windward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, some short-lived showers, thunderstorms. No tropical threats. It looks quiet out there. This is a good trend here this June, and we're going to hold on to that for at least another 5 to 7 days, at least beyond that, hopefully, as well. Into the eastern part of North America, scattered showers and thunderstorms on a somewhat active Tuesday for Toronto, New York City, and Boston as well. Temperatures down a bit in Boston. Atlanta, scattered showers and storms, warm and humid. Miami, the heat is on there, 95. London, England, even some scattered showers and thunderstorms at 75 degrees. So our best chance for a shower locally will come late Tuesday night into Wednesday when the moisture increases and that weak disembodied disturbance off to the west that doesn't look that impressive rolls in. Again, these showers are going to be spotty or scattered at best. Behind that, we dry back out. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're holding on to the low 80s, low to mid 80s, 83 for your highs. Lows will be consistent in the mid 70s, and life is pretty good here at ZBM. Have a great one out there, and we'll have more tomorrow.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
I was diagnosed with illness. Very frightening because my son had just turned 1 and it was a cancer. So I'm young, new baby, and I needed to get the care that I knew would be definitive so that I wanted to be around for him for a very long time. I got in contact with BF&M and BF&M was able to commit at that time to doing at least 50%, so we were comfortable, okay, well, we're gonna go. We got off the plane actually the day of the procedure, and on my way to the limo, my case manager called and she says, Kiana, we got it, you're covered at 100%. And I cried all the way to the office because I was just so happy. The BF&M difference is that I really felt that the case manager really was concerned about my overall care, and because of that I really appreciated them. I think that personal care, that willingness to listen, and then to work until they were able to get it so that I could get full coverage really made the difference for me.
And you are watching the Monday edition of Bermuda Tonight. We now toss it over to Earl Basin, who's standing outside the Red Bull Stadium from the Concacaf Gold Cup in New Jersey as Bermuda prepares to take on Nicaragua. Hello, Earl. How are things in New Jersey?
Well, Diane, we're outside the stadium getting ready for the start of this match, Bermuda's final match in the Gold Cup, taking on Nicaragua at 7:30 Bermuda time. The team is out and ready. All I can say is that they have put in all the work necessary to prepare for this match, having gone down 2-1 in the other two matches. Coach Kyle Lightbone in the press conference yesterday evening reiterated how he feels about Bermuda's chances.
Yeah, we want to win the game. We're approaching it in the right manner. We want to put on a show. We know we're going to have a lot more Bermudians in the crowd. Like say, for instance, I know my family is here for this match, so and a lot of the players' families are here, so they're going to want to perform. So we have to make sure engage it right and make sure that the players go out and put on a performance.
Lightborn says that this competition is set up to help small countries like Bermuda.
We start off with the Nations League. That obviously gives us games to play, meaningful games. So right away we saw the whole way things are going to operate as far as making it to the Gold Cup. So that in itself helps us prepare. You know, we have players that want to play for their country because of that reason. That is probably easy for players to make their decision.
Thanks, Earl. And we will have Earl's full sports roundup after the break. Stay with us.
Every home tells a story. Your story is all yours.
Big kid, too cool. I make my own rules.
Wherever you live, whatever your style, express yourself.
My style says what's up. Don't wanna ever grow up.
So many styles to help tell your story and create your unique dream home.
We're gonna stand out, break away from the crowd.
Start shopping for furniture at U.S. prices today. Lifestyle Furniture is Bermuda's newest furniture store and is proud to be the home of the #1 furniture company in the world, Ashley Furniture. Visit lifestylefurniture.bm or stop by our showrooms today. Lifestyle Furniture, this is home.
I got these for seasickness last week, and they're terrible.
That's strange.
I know. I put one behind each ear like you're supposed to, and nothing happened.
These are tablets. You're meant to take them with water.
I got this pump for my asthma. Hasn't changed anything.
Show me how you're using it. It's an inhaler. You're meant to breathe it in.
Well, this toothpaste? Definitely off.
It's a hemorrhoid cream.
Well, that explains why my gums are shrinking.
Turning to sports, it's football and much more as Earl Basin takes a look at the weekend that was in sports.
Well, it's game day. Bermuda, having gone down 2-1 to Costa Rica and Haiti in their first two matches, will take on Nicaragua at 7:30 Bermuda time in their final Gold Cup Group B match. Bermuda and Nicaragua have yet to win a game in the tournament thus far, and both will be looking for their first wins of the tournament.
I think I spoke about it before that probably people outside Bermuda wasn't expecting Bermuda to come here and put on a decent show. So we'll be pleased if we can get something out of the game tomorrow. And we know it's going to be a difficult game, and we have to play to the standards that we've been playing.
You talked about the specialness of this team and the passion in which you guys have played. How special would it be for you to walk off the field with Bermuda having won a game in the Gold Cup, and you and your teammates are able to celebrate that?
Yeah, I think, again, we want to reward ourselves. It's a difference between just having potential and then, fulfilling that potential, and that's something that we want to do. We believe in ourselves. We're calling ourselves the golden generation, sorry. So, we've played together all our lives. A lot of teams around the world don't have that luxury. So now we want to reward ourselves, reward our fans. Like the gaffer said, we have a lot of people coming from Bermuda to root us on. So again, it will be a special feeling for me. This win will be a platform to build into the Nations League, to set a tone, to tell the world that, again, we can compete at this level, and we want to win games as well, not just have that potential.
Bermuda concluded playing in the 2019 Davis Cup tournament in Costa Rica as they took on the U.S. Virgin Islands in the Americas Group 3 9th and 10th place playoff match. This was a battle to avoid relegation as the losing team would drop down to Division 4 next year. Bermuda would defeat the U.S. Virgin Islands 2-1 to secure 9th spot. Bermuda took a 1-0 lead when Gavin Manders' opponent Russell Armstrong retired 5-love down after 23 minutes in the first set. Neil Towson then took to the court and defeated Thomas Del Olmo in straight sets 6-4, 6-3 to secure Bermuda's win. Bermuda's junior volleyball team concluded competing in the AAU 2019 National Volleyball Championships in Florida. On the final day of competition, Bermuda would pick up a win, their first of the tournament. In the first game of the day, Bermuda took on NYC Crusaders and defeated them in straight games, 25-23, 25-19. They would then go down in their second game of the day, which would be their final of the tournament, falling 25-15, 25-23 to tennis under-18 team out of Florida.
Bermuda played their final match of the Bowl Hockey World Championships in Slovakia. Bermuda would take on Lebanon in the 13th place match. Lebanon would upset Bermuda 4-3 in the match. Bermuda would get goals off the stick of Brian White, Chris Merritt, and Jonathan Tolbert. Devonshire Recreation Club were crowned the Central County Cup champions at the St. John's Field on Saturday following their 2-wicket victory over cup holders Tough Dogs. Tough Dogs went to bat first and were bowled out for 169. Jordan De Silva was the top scorer with 57. Corey Tucker-Smith was the pick of the Devonshire Recreation Club bowlers with figures of 3 overs, 2 for 18. In reply, Devonshire Recreation Club found themselves in deep trouble at 58 for 6, but a 65-run 7th-wicket partnership between Ricardo Bringman and Zion Otterbridge Smith took them to 123 for 7, and then an 8th-wicket partnership between Bringman and Tucker-Smith resulted in 34 runs, guiding Devonshire Recreation Club to victory. Bringman was the top scorer with 86 not out. Derek Bringman was the pick of the Tough Dog bowlers with figures of 8 overs, 2 maidens, 4 for 11. Yesterday, St. David's Cricket Club won their Premier Division match by 7 wickets over Cleveland County. Cleveland County scored 109 for 7, with St. David's Cricket Club scoring 113 for 3. Southampton Rangers picked up an 8-wicket victory over Bailey's Bay. Bailey's Bay scored 99 for 7, with Southampton Rangers scoring 103 for 2. St. George's Cricket Club won by 6 runs over Flats Victoria. St. George's scored 62 for 6, with Flats scoring 56 for 5. In First Division, Western Stars won by 4 wickets over PHC. PHC were bowled out for 77, with Western Stars scoring 78 for 6. Somerset Bridge won by 7 wickets over Devonshire Recreation Club. Devonshire Recreation Club scored 76 for 6, with Somerset Bridge replying 78 for 3. Somerset Cricket Club won by 7 wickets over Willicott. Willicott scored 128 for 6, with Somerset Cricket Club scoring 132 for 3. Bermuda youngsters were back in action competing in the annual Pan American Junior Squash Championships in Toronto, Canada. The Bermuda boys team took on Barbados and went down 2-1. Bermuda also had a mixed under-19 doubles team of Abigail Brewer and Charlie Riker, who took to the courts to face David Pitcairn and Jade Pitcairn from Cayman Islands, and the Pitcairns would win in straight games 11-7, 11-3. Daniel Augustus finished tied 11th after 3 rounds at the New Hampshire Open after shooting 5 under par. Over the 3 rounds, Augustus recorded 13 birdies, 33 pars, and 8 bogeys. The Bermuda National Athletic Association hosted their 13th track meet of the season at the National Sports Center. In the under-20 men's 3,000-meter run, John Dow Cumberbatch clocked a winning time of 9:38.89, with Ryan Otterbridge finishing second in 10:14.13. Nairobi Smith Mills won the under-17 boys 800-meter run, stopping the clock in a time of 2:01.40. The Columbia class was back in action, sailing in the Territorials Regatta. Stephen Dickinson and his crew, Pat Young, won the regatta with 6 points. Malcolm Smith and Damian Payne were second with 8 points, and Dale Bringman and his crew, Tajari Rogers, finished third with 17 points. I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
4K ready box, cloud DVR storage, more local channels on every device in your home. Get more with FiberWire TV.
Cal is back. He's been hearing about open internet and wonders if it applies to Bermuda. The short answer is yes. Open internet or net neutrality is the principle that internet service providers, referred to as ISPs, must provide access to all lawful websites and online data equally, regardless of whether you're posting pictures to Instagram, watching your favorite sports team, or even streaming movies from Netflix. Without open internet, ISPs could influence what you see and how quickly you see it by speeding up some services and slowing down or even blocking your access to legal content or apps. The regulatory authority is developing rules for open internet to protect consumers by making it clear to ISPs what they can and cannot do with internet traffic. And we'd like your input. Just visit rab.bm and submit your feedback by clicking on the public consultation for open internet link between May 20th and June 28th. Make sure your voice is heard.
And that's our newscast. I'm Diane Brewer. Thanks for sharing part of your Monday evening with us, everyone. Good night.